Why am I still excited when it comes to Polkadot? In today's video, I'm going to explain why, even though nothing I say is financial advice. However, the thought of maybe, hypothetically, $50 is still on my mind when it comes to DOT, which is Polkadot's native token. But even beyond that, there's something else that I'm excited maybe about when it comes to Polkadot, but only time will tell. But what is that idea? And that is the thought of Polkadot 2.0. Because not too long ago, Polkadot even made a post on X, and it said that when Polkadot 2.0, according to the post, early October, which I find pretty cool because, again, if it could do that at that time, that would be very impressive. Now, why do I like this though, right? It's because even though I didn't think anything was necessarily bad when it comes to Polkadot, I still do feel like an upgrade, quote unquote, hypothetically, at least if I were to take a look at it, just kind of the thought of that, it is something that I do like because if I take a look at what is kind of hyped, right, about Polkadot 2.0, now, when I take a look at that, I'll see how, for instance, it's something called elastic scaling. Now, if I take a look at it, maybe arguably what is a benefit, right? Maybe, right? Again, it is hypothetically allowing the use of multiple cores simultaneously by the same rollup chain to boost throughput. Again, it sounds kind of complicated, but the way you take a look at it is that it just sounds really interesting to me. Now, again, I think more so this is going to probably be hypothetically more geared towards kind of the developer side of things, where it could, again, maybe help them. But then to me, I just like this nonetheless because I think if anything, it shows that the project seems to be progressing in the right direction, at least to me. Other projects out there, I feel like the team kind of gave up, but this one, it doesn't feel like that to me because, again, Polkadot's already massive. It's already well known. It's already kind of doing its thing. Do we really need Polkadot 2.0? Again, for a project out there that may have kind of not really this mindset of wanting to really improve, probably other projects out there wouldn't want to do that. But when it comes to Polkadot, again, it's already massive, it's already accomplished a lot, and it still wants to do that? Man, I really like what I'm seeing when it comes to that. But even besides that, Polkadot is already famous for its kind of focus on interoperability, right? Connecting blockchains together. We already kind of know that narrative, and we already kind of know about Kusama, which is the canary network to Polkadot. That's also pretty popular. It's basically the way you take a look at it, projects that wish to launch on Polkadot, they're typically going to start off with Kusama first, and eventually some of them do later move on to Polkadot. It's just kind of a way to test out the project while at the same time, arguably, right, having a place where it's cheaper to rent building space when compared to Polkadot, and also on top of that, arguably it's easier to make changes on there as well when compared to Polkadot. So we already kind of know that narrative, but I think that Polkadot 2.0 is just kind of the cherry on top for me. However, DOT may be at the idea of $50, around a 10x from here. Market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply, would be around 80 billion, which doesn't seem maybe too outlandish to me, but again, this is just my thought process. I've seen Dogecoin exceed over $80 billion in market cap back in 2021. This doesn't seem that ridiculous to me, but again, only time will tell. However, I think if the altcoin space, starts to have a little bit of a recovery again and starts to maybe head in the right direction, and then maybe Polkadot 2.0 again, early October, we'll have to wait and see. But again, if kind of, things start happening all at once at that time, or give or take around that time, when it comes to DOT, I'm still very excited. However, to me, only time will tell, because whether or not this altcoin space or just DOT, let's say in general, decides to have that next leg up, right? The exact timing, that is going to be beyond my control. Like, I have no control over that. I do not know the exact moment in time. All I can do is just maybe prepare for a moment in time if it ever even does. What I'm doing is dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. Literally, that's it. So whenever it happens, like let's say November, December, January of next year, February, March, again, I'm talking about 2026 in that context, right? But whenever that timeline is, again, it's going to be beyond my control. Like, I'm going to have no control over that. But all I know I can do is just control myself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just staying patient, and literally that's about it. But generally speaking, I'm still very excited when it comes to Polkadot. I'm not telling anyone to do anything when it comes to Polkadot, by the way, but this is just my outlook when it comes to Polkadot as a project. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.